Yes. All right. So I decided to do a little live stream here on YouTube. I've never actually done that, as far as I'm aware. So I just thought, you know what? I'm gonna try this out. Why not? You know what I mean? And I want to try and see how this actually works. Hi, says Angelo. Laura says, how's it going? It's going well. Thank you for joining me. So I'm just seeing if I can get you guys up on my computer or if I should be looking at my phone. What up? Yeah, thanks for joining me, guys. So basically, I just wanted to say hi and have a little hang. Um, it's been a pretty fun week. Thanks for your backing track, says Elliot. Thank you for joining. And yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed the tracks that I've put out this week. It's been pretty, I've put in a few hours to make these harmonic minor tracks. And, I hope that you guys will enjoy them. Some of them are really quirky. I get that, some of them are like, they're really hard to play on. But I just was like, I'm going to do it for every mode that there is within the harmonic minor family. So I just thought, you know what, I'm going to do all of them. And that's that. So Tom Goldsmith says, you're into weird and wonderful modes. E. Locrian, yes I am. I do find it funny. I mean, I have been a kind of music nerd for a long time. Diego Cavalli is here. Hey, how you doing? Very good to see you guys. Let me see if I can find a way of like scrolling through the comments and stuff like that. Because it'd be pretty cool if I had it up on my laptop. So bear with me a moment, guys. Mike Shaw. Hey, Quists. He says, I say, hi, Mike. Thanks for joining me. This is pretty cool. I like the vibe, how this thing is working. Bonjour de la France. Thank you for joining me, guys. Yeah, okay, so let me see if I'm just, you'll have to just bear with me for a second here. I'm just going into the actual live stream app on the computer. But it seems like I'm going to be doing this on the phone. But that's cool. So yeah, basically, feel free to ask me any questions. I saw quite a lot of them. Snowy and Glen Rothers. Ken. Hey, how's it doing? It's very nice that you could join. Louis Buck says, I would really like to know what was your approach with jazz. I've seen you were the best student at your school. How were you practicing? I don't know if I was the best student at my school. I did win an award, actually, at one point. But anyways, like I say, I don't know if I was the best student. What's my approach with jazz? I, did what I think most of other people do, which is like learn a lot of the language from other jazz players. I spent a lot of time learning Charlie Parker, saxophone genius, and Coltrane, people like that. So like saxophone players and some horn players, Dizzy Gillespie and people like that. So that was one of the things that I spent a lot of time doing. Basically, like trying to emulate other people, and usually by way of ear, not so much from written music. I did buy the Omnibook, Charlie Parker's Omnibook, which is really cool. It's got it's like the bebop Bible, basically, to me anyway, and to a lot of jazzers, I guess. So I spent a lot of time doing that, and then just jamming, with other people, and on backing tracks, on jam tracks. That's part of how I started my journey doing the jam tracks thing, is because I just that's how I was practicing way back to when I was a child, basically learning the scales and stuff. I found out like how you could record like super basic. A super basic way of recording, and I just made like backing tracks for all the scales that I was reading about and learning about. Congratulations from Tijuana, Mexico. Thanks for joining me. Sax Glass, I like that. That's a cool name. Very good. Okay, I'm gonna see if I can pick out another couple of Uh, questions. What is the color of your undies? I think they're black today. Javier says, I'm 53, learning scales. Very good. Well, it is never too late to enjoy the magic of music. Basically, is what I say. Okay, let me see. What do you guys ask? Mike Shaw says, really helpful the way you put in the notes. Your suggestions, what to play over the chords, very key to helping me learn. Thanks. Oh, that's awesome, Mike. Great to hear that. I think that's one of the things that I've always done, and it just makes sense, because it just means that people can dig in, a little deeper than just sitting down and trying to play. At first, I was hesitant to put any of it on the screen so that people would still use their ears. So you might go and read in the description and see what scales can I use here, and then sort of go away from that, and then just focus on hearing and using that knowledge. So for the most part, I've just put the scales in the description, and then do we have a connection problem here? No, I think we're okay. And then let you guys try and make the most of it just with the backing track without seeing too much. But I've started putting up the chords and stuff like that because I think a lot of you do appreciate that. It seems like that. So I'm going to keep on doing that. Any other suggestions, I'm always open. It's all about you guys. So okay, Louis Buck says, many thanks. I'm studying jazz in the conservatory and you're one of my inspirations, as Parker and Coltrane with yours. Oh man, thank you, Louis. I really appreciate that. Sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. That's very cool to hear that. Season's greetings from Philadelphia, MT Miles. Thank you very much. Age 74. That's amazing. Very cool. I get such a kick out of imagining all of you guys playing your instruments and having a great time with music, whether you're like 10 years old or 80 years old, all over the world. That I get such a kick out of that. So that's super cool. Really appreciate that. What's your favorite guitar to play, says Mike Zimmerman. I probably have two favorites. One of them is this one, which is a Strat, because it does, some of you will know that I recorded an album called Trigger, and some of that album, in fact, like a lot of the album was played on a Strat, and I've started playing that live, and started making more music, which is kind of going down that same route, and it's to be able to play that sort of stuff, I really need the Strat with this kind of whammy, and with also my volume knobs there, because I do all the volume swell stuff and that. So the Strat is really quite essential for me. I also play a 1968 335, a Gibson, quite a lot. I love that guitar. And then I play a couple of Les Paul types as well, which I do with... he says, Trigger Rock, says Brian Q. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So, yeah, when I go out with Brian Ferry and play live with him, I play a lot on my Les Paul. I have like an 80s thin line Les Paul, which I love to play as well. Those are kind of my three favorite guitars. And single coil or humbucker super metalatico says, well, if you're talking about the Les Paul that I was just talking about, then I mean it's got humbuckers, but it's actually also got a single coil tap, so you can kind of get both vibes out of that one. But obviously this is a pretty one-sided story, and so I like both. So that's that. And AO says, what's your favorite genre to play? That's difficult to say, actually. I love a lot of different types of music, but I'm kind of a rocker, at heart, but I also love playing jazz. So when the two have when the two meet somehow, I usually have fun. So somewhere in the country between rock and jazz. But like I say, I enjoy a lot of different styles, really. Um, Harrison says, "Good evening from North Carolina. Bought an Epiphone Custom Les Paul Pro to satisfy my hunger for a Les Paul Custom at the moment. Didn't know your thoughts for a guitar similar to it." Yeah, like I said, the custom Les Pauls. I mean, yeah, they're great guitars. I definitely like them a lot. I played. I've got a new one. Well, I've got a couple of new, and I've got a couple of older ones, but like, there's a thing about old guitars. Like some of the new Gibson ones, I have to say, they don't sit as well with me as some of the Gibsons that have been, on this earth for 20 or 30 years. There's something about older guitars that just are, do something special for me anyway. Like a lot of them are just, if they're really great, they have a different level of playability and a different sound, which I enjoy. So that is that. Brian says, when will you tour with your own band? I will be going out next year with my own band, as well as with Brian Ferry, as it looks right now. So I don't want to give away any definite dates just now, but I'm definitely going out with my own band in 2018, playing my own music. So I do very much look forward to that. Okay, we've got, let me see what else we got. Was that you spinning around in the sky, man? Where do you find the nerve? I'm really getting fun playing to your stuff. Thank you. I appreciate that. I think you're referring to my video Spinner, and that was not me spinning around in the sky. That is one of my best friends spinning around in the sky. He's like 5 times the world champion skydiver in like freestyle skydiving. His name is Nils Pulstrup, is how you say it in Danish. He's an amazing guy, and yeah, so he did that. I'm playing the guitar, sort of superimposed on those images, but no, that is not me. I've never jumped out of a plane. I've thought about it a lot because he's been doing it as a career for 15, 20 years or something like that. I mean, he's been doing it like since, like really a long time ago. And he's a great guy. So I'm amazed he hasn't talked to me into doing it yet, but I haven't done it. So that was not me. Let me see what else we got. NZ here, New Zealand. Thank you very much for tuning in. I wonder what time it is in New Zealand. What is your favorite guitar pedal, says Joseph. Probably at the moment, I would have to say that the one I use the most, anyways, is the Strymon Timeline. Where is it? Oh, it's on my board, which is packed away. Yeah, I use the Strymon Timeline a heck of a lot when I'm out touring. That's really one of the main ones. It's just really handy, and it's got a ton of super cool sounds. And you can save the presets and stuff like that. So when I go out touring with Brian Ferry, it's like I have a lot of very specific delays, and I can program them all according to the songs and the set lists and stuff like that. So Kevin, he likes the Strymon tape warble effect. Oh, I don't know what it's called. Yeah, they have quite a few out by now, actually. There's a lot of them. But yeah, the Strymon Timeline is the one that I use the most. I just definitely have gotten a lot of use out of that. So Liliana says, hey, we're really curious, how long does it take you to create a song from creation to mastering? And if you prefer not to say, is there a reason? Thank you. No, I can tell you that. I'm not sure when you say song, it depends what you mean by song, because if it's, a sort of a song for my album and stuff, that can take really long time. some, you know, like in the case of my album Trigger, like it really did take quite a while for me to get that one finished. Like a lot of the songs, you know, I brewed on those for probably longer than I should have. But you know, when you really care about stuff, it can take quite a while. If you're talking about jam tracks, well, like I mean, I can usually it's like a day or two to make a track, and not the whole day. So you know, it depends like what you're making it. Sometimes if I make a track completely from scratch, then then you know I might spend maybe a whole day and then like upload it the next day, which takes, you know, it takes a little while to do all that stuff because I do all the um, you know, like I write out all the scales and all that sort of stuff. You know, that takes a little bit of time as well. Um, so yeah, that in that case, you know, it takes maybe a day or so to make a track, and so it doesn't take me all that long. I've practiced quite a lot doing it. You know, I've made a lot of tracks by now. Especially a week like this. You know, the whole thing is I'm using the same skeleton for each track. So the 7 tracks that I'm putting out this week, the harmonic minor modes, they all have the same like rhythm skeleton. They're all about the same length, and you know, so I can kind of use the same skeleton both when it comes to making the track and making the video. So that way it becomes slightly less time consuming. But obviously, you know, getting a track ready in one day each day for, you know, 7 days, and having like an intro to it that you're, you know, that you don't feel extremely bad about, you know, that is a little bit of pressure, and like, you know, it definitely is quite time consuming. But yeah, a week like this I make it basically a track a day, when you've already got the skeleton out like that. Let me just see, I saw another question, or well, it's quite a few things. Love your eyes and the words, of course. That's funny. Well, do you like Zappa? I am a huge Zappa fan. I absolutely love Frank Zappa. I grew up sort of yeah, digesting and learning and listening to a lot of his stuff. I have a humongous amount of respect for him, and he inspires me, what I do. He inspires what I do basically as well, in the way that, you know, he was somebody who dared to completely you know, do his own thing, and really just you know, follow his own vision of what he wanted to do. I'm not saying that that's something that I do, but that's something that I strive to do. So so yes, he definitely is somebody that I love and am inspired by. That's some cool questions. Diego, tomorrow I have to work. Very good. Have a great day at work. So same feeling. Very cool. Were your kids a major influence in your music? I don't know about that, because yeah, you know that I have kids, and I do. But were they a major influence? I am not sure. They probably were a major influence in how my career has gone the last like 5 years or so, because you know, it changes your mind when you become a father. So Lucas says, what I want to ask is, I feel like I'm always playing the same thing, even in different things, yeah, even in a different key signature or a different style. How can I develop this kind of vocabulary? Yeah, so I mean, one of the ways is trying out like scales and contexts that you haven't tried before, to kind of force your ears and your fingers to go, you know, where they haven't gone before. But going back to what we started with like jazz and learning vocabulary for jazz, you know, what you can do is, you know, pick out things that you love, things that you hear that you really love. So, you know, whether it's a guitar solo or a keyboard solo or a saxophone solo, or like, you know, whatever you hear, and you know, try and learn them either by ear, or you know, find the tabs for them online, or whatever, and then try and work that into your playing. Um, if you do that enough, you know, you're bound to find things that will open up new territory for you. And the thing I love about jamming and using jam tracks is that if you do that with, um, you know, if you're doing it with jam tracks, if you're learning things and then immediately applying them to your playing in jam tracks, it it adds your own creativity to the mix instantly, you know. So you're not just learning something and going, oh, you know, I'll just play like him, but it obviously you know, it makes it yours because you're trying to use it in a context, in a different context where it originally was used. So that's one of the many things I love about jam tracks. So I hope that was a help to you. Joseph says, what's your favorite kind of beer? At the moment, I don't actually drank a lot of beer, but at the moment my favorite beer is probably Modelo. I think it's Mexican. I'm here in LA, you know, pretty close to Mexico, and that's one of the most famous beers. I'm not really into IPAs and you know, all that jazz. The sort of hipster brews and everything just went right over my head. I don't really like those kind of things. So Andrew says, "Are you a cat person or a dog person?" I grew up with dogs. I'm definitely a dog person, but I am allergic to dogs, so I don't have a dog because I don't like to sneeze all the time. So no, I love dogs. I like cats as well, but I don't have any of them because I'm allergic to all of them. So that's kind of annoying, but I've learned to live with that fact. Okay, before we wrap it up, I want to say as well, because it was Thanksgiving, you know, we put out like a thing on the shop for Quistorama.com music and Quistorama.com jam tracks, where you guys can download any stuff, you know, any of the CDs or jam tracks, tabs, you know, you can get picks, you know, all of that sort of stuff. You can download that for 50% off until Monday. So the rest of the week, basically, we got like a Thanksgiving thing going. All you have to do when you're checking out is write Thanksgiving 2017, and you get it for half price. So I hope you guys will enjoy that. Easty Beastie says, I heard your music on Sean Vig's workout videos. Are you guys friends? That is so cool. Very cool. You could say that I'm friends with Sean Vig. Yeah, I was touring America a few months ago, and when I was playing in Denver, I invited Sean to, because we'd already collaborated a bit online before that. So I invited him to my show. Actually, I should tell the whole story, which is that he's my favorite like yoga guy on YouTube. When I am on tour, which I am like, you know, a lot of the time, one of my habits, you know, like one of my pre-show kind of things is to work out and to go for a run and stuff like that. And like he basically is like my favorite guy for like working out yoga style. And especially like his stretches and stuff like that. I've always been into stretching and things like that. Also for when you play a lot, which I do. I spend all day every day playing. So like stretching is like super important for not getting, you know, getting injuries and things like that. So so yeah, he's the man for that sort of stuff. So I've used his videos and loved his videos for many years. So basically, when I figured out that I was going to Denver, which is close to Colorado, you know, which is close to where he. So I was going to Denver, Colorado, which is close to where he lives. And when I found that out, I was like, oh, I'm gonna get in touch and tell him that I'm coming. So I invited him down to the show. He came with his lovely partner, and it was really cool. We spent like I think it's his wife actually. We spent like ages after the show, talking to him and his wife, just having a really good time. He is a brilliant human being, and it was super inspiring to see, you know, the in his videos, it's like it's maybe even greater in real life. It's just such good energy. So yeah, Jean-Vig, he's awesome. Okay, I'm gonna just answer a couple more questions, and then I'm gonna wrap this up. Who is your favorite blues player, Quist? I can't really picture your style. I think you mean say. Who's my favorite blues player? Oh, that's a difficult one. I like a lot of guys and girls who play the blues. So I wouldn't really. I don't know if I can really give you a favorite. I'm hugely inspired by Robert Johnson and his slide vibe, and I don't know if I would say that he's my favorite player, Eric Clapton, but I learned a load of Eric Clapton stuff when I was growing up. But actually, thinking more about it, I think I would have to say that my favorite blues player probably nowadays is Derek Trucks from Tedeschi Trucks band and Allman Brothers and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, Derek Trucks. He is, I think I would say, pretty much the world's best living slide blues player. He's unbelievable, and he's all about the feeling, but he also has amazing technique, which that's just so he can go amazing places, but he always does it with like amazing feeling. So yeah, I dig his vibe. Okay, that's probably about it. Okay, are you better at playing guitar when you do coke? I think is what you're saying. You were saying brown sugar as well before. I would give you a pretty definite no to that. I don't think so. Okay, favorite blues player. Yeah, we had that one. Derek Trucks. Do you really have to go to music school to learn mixing? No, I do not think so. Oh yeah, where did you learn mixing? No, I learned mixing from just doing it loads and loads and loads, and like occasionally when I've worked with people in studios and made music with other people that are more experienced than me, I've picked up like tricks and stuff like that to get a little bit better at it in terms of like tweaking the frequencies, tweaking frequencies right and making things sit in the right place, and using certain software and things like that. I've learned a few things along the way from just working with people that actually know how to do it. I didn't go to any kind of school really for that. I mean, maybe like we learned basic stuff like that when I was at music school. Like I studied jazz, but and maybe we did a little bit of that. But no, I basically learned it from doing it loads and loads and loads. And I think somebody earlier asked like what I use, and I use Logic 10 at the moment, and a lot of the time now I'm using like Apollo Twin from Universal Audio. That's my interface, and I also use the XFX2 XL Plus from Fractal Audio Systems, and yeah, that's about it. I'm gonna have to wrap it up. I'm gonna do one last one, which says, "Did you say you practice all day, every day?" Very important to know. I play flute, by the way. Very cool. Well, the thing is about that. I play guitar all day, every day, but I don't necessarily practice absolutely every day, because I mean it's what I do for a living, and so I don't know how to say that, but I mean, yeah, I do practice because like when I'm doing a gig, I'll do a warm up, which I guess actually would be considered a practice. So maybe I do practice every day because I'm always either making tracks and playing the tracks, and doing the intros, or on stage and playing, and where I'll have like I do pretty long warm ups before I go on stage. So I guess you consider that practice. So I do practice like that, and it creeps in in loads of different ways. But I don't as much as I used to do when I was learning. Like I used to practice, and I mean like practice, sort of 8 hours a day, for a number of years. I was a total nerd and just practiced for like a minimum of 8 hours a day, and just doing, you know, just learning stuff, improvising, learning bits of solos, and you know, jamming and practicing scales and patterns and sequences and all that sort of stuff, spending time with the metronome and all that, you know. I did do that for a long time, but nowadays, because I do it for a living, I don't really get to do that much, but I do get to play the guitar all day, every day. So I hope that that was some kind of answer. And yeah, thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate you all checking in. Totally awesome, and I'll definitely do this again very soon. And take care, guys. Thank you very much. Bye. See how I actually turn this thing off.